Ethan Harlow moved quietly through the dark metal hallway as the dim lights flickered above him. He was a human soldier, trained for rescue missions, but even he felt uneasy inside the silent alien research station. Everything was too still. No voices, no movement, no sign of life. Only the soft hum of damaged machines filled the air. He held his rifle close, not to attack anyone, but to protect anyone who might still be alive inside this place. He had answered a distress signal that went out only once before the station went silent. Someone had called for help. Someone might still be here. As he turned the corner, he stepped over broken glass and burned cables. A small floating drone light followed him, shining a blue circle on the floor. His boots made quiet thumps with each step. He checked every room he passed, hoping to find someone. But all he saw were overturned chairs, scattered notes, and strange glowing tools he didn't recognize. The station had been attacked recently. The walls carried fresh scorch marks. Whoever attacked was still nearby. Ethan's voice echoed softly as he called out, "Is anyone here? I'm a human soldier. I came to help." Only silence answered him. He kept moving. After several minutes of searching, Ethan entered a large control chamber. Screens were cracked, wires were sparking, and tables were overturned. It looked like the crew tried to defend themselves but failed. He scanned the room, and then he heard it. A faint sound, a small breath, not mechanical, not a machine, something alive. He instantly pointed his light toward the sound. Behind a broken console, something small and glowing moved. Ethan crouched slowly. "Hey, it's okay. I'm not here to hurt you." The glowing shape trembled. Then, slowly, a tiny alien girl stepped out from behind the broken console. She was no taller than his chest, with slim limbs, big silver eyes, and soft glowing lines running along her skin like gentle patterns. She looked young, frightened, tired. Her clothes were torn, and she held a ripped blanket in her arms. The moment she saw Ethan, she froze. Her eyes widened with fear, as if she had never seen a human this close before. Ethan lowered his weapon and raised his empty hand. "It's all right. I'm here to help. Are you hurt?" The girl swallowed and took a tiny step forward. Her voice was quiet, trembling, and soft. "Well, who are you?" "My name is Ethan," he said gently. "I got your distress signal. I'm here because you called for help." Her fingers tightened on the blanket. "Not me. The others." She stopped speaking, as if remembering something painful. Her voice cracked a little. "They are gone." Ethan's heart tightened. She really was the only one left. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Lyra," she whispered. Lyra looked away, hiding half her face behind the blanket. Ethan could see her small shoulders shaking. She was terrified, alone, and far too young to face this kind of nightmare. Ethan stepped closer, slow and calm. "Lyra, I'm here now. I won't let anything hurt you." Lyra's silver eyes lifted weakly to meet his. Something in his voice made her pause. Her breathing slowed. She seemed to study him closely, not his face, but his uniform shirt. Her gaze kept dropping to the fabric, focusing on it in a strange way. Ethan noticed, but said nothing. Maybe she was looking for proof he was a real soldier. Then she stepped close enough to touch him. Ethan remained still, no sudden moves. Lyra stretched out her small hand and lightly gripped his shirt near the shoulder. She leaned in and quietly sniffed the fabric. He blinked. Lyra?" She sniffed again, slower this time, like she was recognizing something. Finally, she let go, stepping back just enough to look up at him fully. "Your scent. It tells the truth." Ethan frowned slightly, confused. "My scent?" She nodded. "My species can sense danger through smell. We can feel lies, fear, hate. But your scent is safe." She touched her chest lightly. "My instincts say you are a protector." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest at her words. She trusted him. in a place full of danger. She saw safety in him. He knelt down so his eyes were level with hers. "Lyra, I promise I'll get you out of here. You're not alone anymore." She blinked rapidly, her eyes shining. A small, shaky breath escaped her, almost like relief. Before he could say more, an alarm sounded softly from a damaged console nearby. Ethan quickly stood and checked the screen. The signal was unclear, but he could see enough. A ship had jumped into nearby space. Not a friendly one. His voice grew serious. "Lyra, someone is coming." Her face went pale. "The raiders. They will return. They always return." Ethan looked at her, then back at the screen. Yes. Whoever destroyed the station was back, searching for survivors or for something valuable. He made a quick decision. "We need to hide." Lyra clutched his shirt again almost instantly, her small hands trembling. "Don't leave me." Ethan gently placed his hand over hers. "I won't. Stay close." They moved through the dark hallways, with Lyra holding onto his sleeve tightly. She walked quietly, almost silently, but every loud noise in the distance made her jump. Ethan kept himself between her and any sound that came from behind corners or distant corridors. After several tense minutes, they reached a small maintenance room with thick doors. Ethan opened it and checked inside. It was safe enough. No windows, no broken parts, just storage shelves and a quiet floor. "Stay here," Ethan whispered. Lyra immediately shook her head and grabbed his shirt again with both hands. "No. Please, don't leave me alone. Fear will crush me." He sighed softly, understanding. "All right, I'll stay." They both stepped inside. The room was dim, lit only by a single emergency light. Lyra still held his shirt tightly, afraid to let go. Ethan sat on the floor, leaning against a wall. Lyra hesitated for a moment, then gently pulled his shirt and sat close beside him, not touching fully but very near. Ethan watched her, trying to understand her strong reaction. "Lyra, why do you keep holding on to my shirt?" She looked down at her hands, shy and embarrassed. "Your scent calms my heart. My species. We feel safety through closeness. When danger is near, we rest beside someone with a safe scent so fear does not consume us." Ethan nodded slowly. That explained everything. It was instinct, not anything strange, just survival. Lyra's voice softened to almost a whisper. "If I sleep alone, I will feel the fear again. I might scream. I might move. They will hear." He understood. Her people slept close to protect each other. She had lost her entire group, and he was the only one left who could give her that comfort. Lyra's eyes lifted to him again, full of worry. "Human. Ethan." She swallowed nervously. "Sleep near me tonight, please. I cannot stay calm otherwise." Ethan felt a small shock at the request, but when he saw the fear in her eyes, everything inside him softened. She was not asking out of anything inappropriate. She was trying to stay alive, trying not to fall apart. "Okay," Ethan said gently. "I'll stay beside you." Her small shoulders loosened instantly. Her hands let go of his shirt, but only for a moment. Then she quietly moved closer and lightly held onto the edge of his sleeve again. Ethan lay back against the wall, staying in a relaxed but alert position. Lyra slowly lay down next to him, curled slightly toward his side. She didn't touch him directly, just stayed close enough to feel his presence. Ethan listened to her breathing. It started shaky, but slowly, over several minutes, it became soft and steady. Lyra's fear faded as she rested near him. She trusted him more than she trusted the station's alarms, more than she trusted her own instincts. For the first time since he arrived, Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle fully on his shoulders. He wasn't just protecting a survivor. He was protecting a child who had lost everything, and she had chosen him, out of every being in the galaxy, to be her safety. Lyra whispered with half-closed eyes. "Thank you, Protector." Within minutes, she fell asleep. Ethan stayed awake, sitting against the wall with his weapon ready and his mind sharp. He would not sleep, not while danger was out there. He watched the door, listened to every sound in the hallway, and checked the scanner on his wrist. Hours passed slowly. Then, just when the room was filled with quiet breathing and the soft hum of the station's broken systems, Ethan's scanner flashed red. A silent alert. Raiders had entered the station. He heard faint footsteps in the distance. Heavy ones. Too many. Ethan looked down at Lyra sleeping beside him. She was completely unaware of the danger approaching. He whispered, "Lyra, wake up." Her eyes fluttered open immediately, and she looked at him with confusion, then fear. "What's happening?" she whispered. Ethan held her hand gently to keep her calm. "They're back, and they're searching every room." Lyra's breathing tightened, but she didn't scream or panic. She held on to Ethan's sleeve again, trusting him completely. Ethan picked up his rifle and slowly stood. "Stay behind me. Stay quiet, no matter what." Lyra stood close to him, trembling but brave. She nodded. The footsteps grew louder. The raiders were coming, and they were getting closer. The footsteps in the hallway grew louder as Ethan moved slightly in front of Lyra, shielding her with his body. The small maintenance room felt even smaller now. The humming lights above them flickered again, casting long shadows across the metal floor. Lyra held the back of Ethan's shirt tightly with trembling fingers, her eyes wide and alert. She did not speak, but he could feel her fear through her soft breaths. Ethan raised his hand slowly, signaling her to remain silent. She nodded and pressed herself gently against the wall behind him. The steps stopped right outside the door, and for a moment, there was only silence. Then a low voice spoke in a strange, alien language Ethan did not understand. Another voice answered. They seemed to be discussing which rooms to check. Ethan placed his hand on the small panel beside the door and forced the lock mechanism to stay shut. It would not hold forever. The raiders had strong tools and strong arms. They could break in if they wanted, but maybe they would move on if they didn't hear anything. Lyra tugged his sleeve lightly, her voice barely audible. "They are looking for me. They want to take me away." Ethan turned his head slightly to look at her. "Not if I'm here. You trust me, right?" She nodded, her small eyes shining even in the dim light. "I do. Completely." The voices outside slowly faded as the raiders moved to the next room. Ethan waited a few extra minutes, making sure they were far away before letting out a quiet breath. He motioned for Lyra to follow him. It was time to leave the maintenance room before the raiders circled back. They slipped into the hallway, moving silently. Lyra stayed close behind him, holding his sleeve with both hands. The halls were darker now, some lights dead completely. Smoke from damaged wiring hovered in thin clouds. Ethan led her through narrow backup tunnels he remembered from the station map. Lyra whispered directions whenever she sensed danger ahead. She had a strange instinct for her surroundings, reacting to vibrations and faint energy signals. At one intersection, Lyra stopped Ethan with a firm tug. "3 raiders ahead," she whispered. "They are waiting." Ethan listened. Sure enough, he could faintly hear metal clicking. He guided her into a side passage instead. Lyra squeezed his arm gently, grateful he trusted her instincts. Every minute felt tense, but together they avoided several patrols. After many minutes of careful movement, they reached the central corridor leading to the emergency shuttle bay. The bay doors were at the far end. If they reached it, they could escape the station. But as soon as they stepped into the corridor, Ethan knew something was wrong. The air felt thicker, like heavy footsteps had been here recently. Then they saw him, the raider captain. A tall, armored alien stood blocking the path to the shuttle. His glowing red visor flickered, scanning the corridor. Behind him, two raiders held large rifles. Ethan immediately pushed Lyra behind him and raised his own weapon. The captain spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "Human, you have something that belongs to us." Lyra's grip tightened on Ethan's shirt. Her whole body shook. She whispered, "He wants me. He wants my knowledge. He wants to use me." Ethan stood firm. "She doesn't belong to you." The captain laughed, a cold and metallic sound. "She is the last of her research group. Their genetic notes hold great value. She will come with us. Move aside, human." His huge hand extended, palm upward. "Give her to me and you may leave." Ethan didn't move. "Never." The raider captain tilted his head slightly. "You protect her?" "Yes," Ethan said without hesitation. Lyra felt her breath stop for a moment. No one had ever spoken for her like that before. The raider captain suddenly raised his weapon, but Ethan reacted faster. He pulled Lyra behind a metal support column just as energy bolts blasted the wall where they had been standing. The air shook with the impact. Lyra covered her ears, trembling. Ethan fired back, hitting one of the standing raiders. The alien fell with a heavy thump. The captain roared angrily as sparks flew across the floor. Lyra peeked from behind Ethan, her small heart pounding. She had never seen anyone fight for her like this. The remaining raider charged forward. Ethan shoved Lyra to the side and rolled to avoid a blast. He fired again and took out the second raider, but the captain himself stepped over the bodies, unfazed, lifting his heavy weapon. "Weak human," the captain growled. Ethan didn't answer. He jumped forward, tackling the captain against the wall. The two struggled in a fierce hand-to-hand fight. The captain's strength was overwhelming, but Ethan refused to retreat. He remembered Lyra behind him, depending on him, believing in him. That gave him strength he didn't know he had. Lyra watched with wide eyes. Ethan landed several hits, dodging and moving with determination. The captain swung his arm hard, knocking Ethan to the ground. Lyra gasped and rushed forward, but Ethan raised a hand for her to stay back. The captain lifted his weapon again, aiming straight at Ethan's chest. Lyra screamed, "No!" Before the captain could fire, Ethan threw a piece of broken metal he had grabbed earlier, hitting the captain's visor. The alien stumbled, giving Ethan an opening. He jumped up, grabbed the alien's arm, and forced the weapon aside. A wild energy shot blasted into the ceiling, sending sparks falling around them. Lyra took a shaky breath. Her small hands pressed against her chest as she whispered, "Ethan, you are fighting because of me." Ethan didn't look back, too focused on keeping the captain away. "I told you, I won't let them take you." Hearing his voice filled Lyra with a mixture of fear and something new, hope. She noticed a control panel nearby that powered the bay doors and the security shields. If she could overload it, she could create a distraction. "Ethan!" she whispered loudly. "Keep him busy!" Ethan didn't need to ask why. He nodded once, tightening his grip around the captain's arm. Lyra sprinted to the panel. Her fingers danced quickly over the controls. She knew the station systems better than anyone. The raider captain noticed her and snarled, trying to push Ethan aside, but Ethan held him firmly, using every bit of strength in his body. "You're not touching her!" he shouted. Lyra entered a final code and the panel sparked violently. The emergency lights flashed red. A deep rumble shook the floor. She ran back to Ethan. "We must go, now!" The captain roared in fury. "What did you do?" Before he could grab her, Ethan pulled Lyra toward the shuttle door. Behind them, the panel exploded, sending a shockwave through the bay. Fire burst out, and alarms blared everywhere. The captain fell back, consumed by flames and collapsing debris. Ethan lifted Lyra into the shuttle and jumped in after her. He slammed the door shut and rushed to the controls. Lyra strapped herself in, breathing fast but focused. "Ethan," she whispered, "will we make it?" He started the engines. "Hold on." The shuttle shot forward just as the entire station began to collapse behind them. The explosion filled the view from the rear window, bright flames swallowing the place where Lyra had lived, where her people had worked, and where danger had hunted her. Lyra stared at the burning wreckage through teary eyes. "My home, it is gone." Ethan placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. She leaned into his touch, trembling softly. "I'm sorry, Lyra." But after a moment, she looked up at him. "I am not alone anymore. You brought me out. You saved me." Ethan gave her a small smile. "I told you I wouldn't let anything happen to you." The shuttle entered the safety of open space, moving toward human territory. The stars outside were calm and endless. Lyra slowly unbuckled herself and walked toward Ethan, who was adjusting the navigation. She tugged lightly on his sleeve. "Ethan." "Yes?" She looked at him with gentle eyes, shy but brave. "When I first met you, I trusted your scent. But now—" She placed a small hand on his chest where his heart beat. "Now I trust you because of your heart." Ethan felt warmth rise in his chest. "I'm glad." Lyra looked down, hesitating before speaking again. "May I stay beside you? Not because I am afraid, but because I want to." Ethan looked at her, understanding exactly what she meant. "Of course you can stay." Lyra's eyes brightened. She moved quietly to sit beside him, leaning gently against his arm. She felt safe, truly safe for the first time since her people were lost. Ethan kept one hand on the controls and the other resting softly across her shoulders. The stars stretched endlessly before them. The tiny alien girl who once trembled in fear now sat peacefully beside the human she chose as her protector. And Ethan guided the shuttle toward a new beginning, one where she would never face the darkness alone again.